Welcome back, all you beautiful Bulletproof handymen and women. Today, we're going to go over creating custom fields in Jobber. And for those of you who don't know, whether it be the client, the property, the quote, the job, or the invoice, or even the team members, you can create your own fields. So Jobber is going to come with a lot of fields that are ready for you to fill in, but you're going to need to customize this to your business and your clients. So when you need to add new fields, you can easily do it within the software. So I'm going to take you in and actually show you how to create those and how to properly use them. Also, just a reminder, I do Jobber webinars basically every weekend, at least as of the time of the filming of this video. So check the description of this video and all my other videos, and you should find a bunch of links to get yourself scheduled into any number of these Jobber webinars that I do. And they're all free, by the way. And then finally, if you don't already have Jobber and you'd like to get a free 14-day trial, there's a link in the description for that as well. And my link's going to also give you 20% off for the first 6 months. So let's go ahead and dive in here and start looking at how we create these. So the first thing I'm going to do is take you in and just show you the basic layout of these. So go up to the top right corner and click on that gear icon and then click on settings. And I'm going to give you a basic rundown of how these works, and then we'll do examples for each one. So once you're inside settings, you're going to come down here to custom fields and click custom fields. This is going to show you all of the custom fields that you currently have, and it's the place that you're going to create more. So here's how I want you to think of things. With all of these custom fields, there's sort of an order of priority or an order of events for any given job that ultimately results in revenue in your pocket. So it starts with number one, the client right here. The client is sort of the highest level. And then underneath the client is the client's property or the client's multiple properties. And then from there, once you have the client and the property and you're going to actually be quoting some work or doing some work, the first step in the entire process is giving them a quote or an estimate. The second step, once that's approved, is doing the job. The third step is going to be invoicing. And then separately down here, we have teams. But I want you to look at this as an order of events that builds up, because these fields are transferable. So if you create something, let's say a custom field for the client, if you create it for the client and you make it transferable, then it will transfer to all of the subsequent fields. So this one block that you make in the very beginning under the client is going to transfer all the way down for any information that you want to always keep handy and easy to find about the client. Same thing with the property. If you create it at the property level and make it transferable, it will transfer down that ladder to the quote, to the job, to the invoice, but it will not transfer over to the client. So you have to start these at the level that you would first like to see them and then tell them to be transferable the rest of the way down. So for clients, try to imagine, what would you want to know about your client? What's a piece of information that you'd really like to collect about them and have on hand in a very permanent way? So for me, one of those things would be what field or industry they represent. It's what type of client they are. So let's go ahead and add a custom field to a client, and I'll give you all an example of some information that you'd want to keep handy. So we're going to come over here to the right and click Add Field. And then when we add the field, first thing we want to know is this a transferable field? So I'm going to say yes. So the piece of information we're going to try to keep handy about this client is what I'm going to call client type. And what I mean by client type is, are they a commercial? Are they the owner of a commercial property? Are they the owner of a residential property? Are they a property manager for residential properties or commercial properties? Or is this maybe a real estate agent representing the buyer or representing the seller? Is it Section 8? Is it an insurance company? There's lots of different types of clients, and each one is going to require a different type of service. So if you can keep that information handy by creating these custom fields, then throughout the job, you can reference that information and go, oh yeah, this is a real estate agent. They're typically going to want things done this way. Or this is a residential property manager. They're typically going to want things done this way. So we've got the custom field name client type. Now the field type, you can say that it's only going to be text, only going to be numeric, or it's going to be a true false. So just like a yes or no binary answer, or area, length times width, or you can create drop downs. And we will be creating a drop down on this one. So let's go ahead and click drop down. And now options for the drop down. So I'm going to type all these out really fast, and I'll just speed this up when I edit. All right, I've got them all done. So here's the options that I chose. We've got commercial owner, commercial property manager, residential owner, residential property manager, residential DIY landlord, seller's agent, buyer's agent, Section 8, insurance, and government or university. So once we've got all of those made, we're going to go ahead and say create custom field. And now that custom field has been made. So as you can see, under client custom fields, we did say it's going to be transferable. So now we're going to create this field at the client level when we create the client. Or if we don't create it at the client level, when we go to, let's say, add properties, we might be prompted to go ahead and fill that out. Or when we transfer over to quotes or jobs, wherever you start this process out, that field will already be there. But if you fill it out at the client level, it will transfer to all the subsequent levels. So next on the list is going to be property custom fields. Sometimes your client is going to have one property. It's just the house that they live in. But sometimes your clients are going to have multiple properties, and you're going to want to know different things about each property that aren't going to be the same all under the same client. So one example of that is going to be what year the property was built. That's going to be really handy info. If you've got a property being built in the 1950s, then you can assume, for example, here in Tucson, that it's probably going to have galvanized plumbing, which means you're going to have a whole different type of plumbing work to do there, and you're going to run into new plumbing problems that you won't find on newer properties. You're also going to have probably a lot of plaster involved on a place built in the 50s compared to drywall compared to a place built in the 90s. So we want to track what age each of these properties are as we input them as a property. So under property custom fields, we're going to say add field. We are going to make this a transferable field because we want to see this information on the job as well. So let's say year built. And for the field name, we're just going to go ahead and leave that as text. Text is actually alphanumeric, so you can put in letters or numbers, and there's not going to be a default value. And let's go ahead and create that custom field. Now we've got this new custom field for year built. It is transferable. It did transfer forwards to the job and to the invoice. So that's the property field. Next is going to be quote custom field. So what kind of information might we want on quotes? Well, a lot of your business to business clients are going to be using work order numbers to track every single thing that they do. And they're going to need you to reference the work order number on your paperwork with them because that's how their business filters all of their jobs. So for quote custom fields, we're going to add a field for work order. So let's click add field. We do want this to be a transferable field. Custom field name is going to be work order number. And the field type we're going to leave as text because, again, that's alphanumeric. So you can use letters and numbers, and work order numbers oftentimes have letters in them as well. So we're just going to leave this one as text. There is no default value, and we're going to create that custom field. And again, as you can see, we now have work order number that's going to be a custom field on our quotes. It did not transfer backwards to the property or to the client, but it did transfer forwards up to the job and the invoice. So that's our new quote custom field right there. That's how fast and easy these are to make. So let's speed it up a little. Let's go to the jobs. We've got a job and we need to make a custom field. One of the things we need to know on a job, again, a lot of your business to business clients are going to give you a certain budget and say, if you can maintain this budget, then we don't need to go seek approval. So we need to know what that budget is, and we need that on our job form easily referenced because every client and sometimes every job is going to be different. So for job custom fields, let's click add field. We are going to make this a transferable field because we want to see that information on the invoice as well. And the name of the custom field is going to be maintenance limit /DNE. DNE is do not exceed. You might hear either of those two terms. Field type, once again, we're going to leave as text here. It's going to be perfectly fine that way. No default value necessary. Create custom field. And now we can access that information on our job form on the job, what the maintenance limit is for that job so that we don't exceed it. Next is invoice custom fields. And for invoices, we're going to do a bill to section. A lot of property managers, both commercial and residential, are going to have you put a bill to on there to say who is responsible ultimately for the payment. So we're going to add field. Custom field name is going to be bill to. Field type, again, we're going to leave as text. That just leaves the door wide open for us to put whatever information we want in there and create custom field. And as you can see on the invoice, we now have a bill to section, and it did not transfer backwards to any of these. So that's how we do those for all of our jobs. Now, there is one extra custom field you can make here, and that is going to be for your team members. I'll do a separate video. It's probably on the channel already by the time you watch this, but I'll do a separate video for showing you how to add team members and manage team members. And team members can be admin people. They can be people that you subcontract out to. They can be employees. They can be anybody at all that your business does business with that might need access to your job or account. So for the team, let's say add field. And one of the things we might want to know about each of our team members is what their specialties are. So if we have, let's say 10 total between employees, helpers, subcontractors, etc. Out of those 10, we've got 2 of them that are carpenters, and we're going to want to know what everyone's specialty is so we don't send our mainly plumber guy out to a carpentry job, and we don't send our mainly carpentry guy out to a plumber job. So custom field name is going to be specialty. We want to know what the specialty is. I'm just going to leave this field type as text again. We don't need a default value, and create custom field. And now when you go create a new team member, there will be a custom field block for you to actually type in what that person's specialty skills are. So this is all of our custom fields now. If you want to stick around, then we'll go ahead and we'll go to, actually, let's take a look at create client. So we're inside here to create a new client, and you'll notice when you scroll down here to additional client details on the bottom and you open that up, there's the client type. This is what you just watched me make here. So now when we create the client, we can go ahead and say, this is a residential do-it-yourself landlord. And then we can save that client. Now this isn't going to save because I didn't fill anything in, but that's how we do that. And then next, let's go create a quote. And now inside the creation of a quote, as you can see, we've got the client type, which we added to transfer forwards from the client level. We've also got year built, which we added at the property level. And then now finally for the quotes, we added work order number starting at the quote level, and there's work order number. And whatever we put in here is now going to transfer upwards through the job and through the invoice. Let's check out create invoice. Now, first you have to pick who you're going to create the invoice for. So let's go ahead and just pick any random property manager here, because the thing for you to see over here is going to be this bill to. This again is the one that we added. Same thing at the job level here. Before that was maintenance limit or do not exceed. So now all of this information is fully visible to us. I think this is one of the best features Jobber has that they don't really advertise enough, because yes, when you're first starting out, you might just want to create a job, create an invoice, and get paid. That's the most simple, basic version of what this software is for. But as you move through time and you try to make your business run more effectively and more efficiently, having these custom fields is just absolutely game-changing, because now all the information you want to track, you can track. And if there's new information you suddenly decide that you want to start tracking tomorrow, you can just put that into the system tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions on this, don't hesitate to email me at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. Also, don't forget I do a lot of free webinars on this, so go to the description of this video and all my videos to get registered for one of those webinars. And finally, if you don't use Jobber already, and if you'd like a free 14-day trial, go ahead and click on my link in the description, and that's also going to get you 20% off for the next 6 months. So with all that being said, I love you guys. I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see you on the next one.